Hello and welcome to the Bears and Lions podcast. This is the podcast where we challenge our present by viewing our past. I'm a firm believer that our greatest future lies within the correct view of our past, because when you actually look at it, there's little bits of memories and little bits of color in each memory that you can pull into your present and utilize to hopefully make your future a lot brighter. This is a special conversation today. I was really honored and excited to share. It's one that's been long in the making. I really hope that you enjoy this conversation. So we'll see you on the other side. This is a special episode for me. This is one that's probably 10 to 15 years in the making. It's one that I remember journaling in my journal years ago when OneRepublic came out with a song called Life in Color. I remember writing about that song, but also about how I wanted to view life and how I wanted to always lean toward the vibrant side, the artistic side of viewing life. I wanted it to be something that I could grow with and know. On my darker days or on some of the good days, I will take in and soak in the art and the beauty of it. And that's why I call this episode Memory Museum, is because we view everything through a lens. We will view it through what's happening now in front of us. So if you see a beautiful sunrise, or you see an amazing movie or an amazing concert, whatever that might be, you're going to view it through the memories that you've had. And eventually those views will become memories. So anything you experience will take you back to another experience. And you've heard like movies are art in motion, or video is art in motion. A motion picture is art that happens. But what about memories? And see, this whole podcast, long before I ever knew this podcast was going to be a thing, or even the idea of this podcast, it was in my mind. I wrote about these things, and I wanted to really challenge myself to always view life through a lens of art and through a lens of beauty, and choose to try to see the world in the best light possible. And so this whole podcast came about. The idea of it was correctly viewing our past and challenging our present by correctly viewing our past and exploring our memories. Because, I was really impacted by the scripture, the story of David versus Goliath. I've told the story multiple times on this podcast, but essentially, David had to go searching for the fight with Goliath. Goliath didn't come knock on his door. Goliath wasn't the one who was invading his flock of sheep. He was in a completely different area, and David actually went to see his brothers, didn't even know about Goliath, but left. He was a shepherd of his father's flock, and he left that flock to tend to his brothers. And it just so happened he ran into Goliath on the battlefield, essentially, of what was going to take place. He had to ask permission to even fight Goliath. And when he was turned down, they said, no, you're not going to be able to fight him. The king wouldn't let him fight him. David didn't say, all right, whatever. He actually went the next step, and he said, look, this is my normal day-to-day life as a shepherd. I've fought bears and lions. And if I can take down bears and lions doing my normal day-to-day, this giant isn't going to be any different. And that really impacted me to understand that our day-to-day lives, on what we face, it's not giants. We're not facing Goliaths as much as we would like to admit. We're facing bears and lions that are preparing us to be able to have confidence to step into and be very direct by asking permission to fight the giants, right? I view giants as, I'm going to ask this girl to marry me. I'm going to change jobs. I'm going to move to a new state. I recently faced a giant there. I'm going to try something brand new. I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to pursue a new career at an older age, or a different, I'm going to pursue a career that my parents don't want me to pursue. Things like that, I believe are giants that we're pursuing and choosing. They're not the bears and lions. The bears and lions are the classes that come along the way, the struggles that come along the way, the bills that come along the way, the things that are unforeseen that just happen through life. They're the things that happen at the previous jobs, the skills that we gain throughout our lives. Those are all bears and lions, hardships that we can't control, but we're also not pursuing those. They just happen. And I've really learned that many people will look at their memories almost like it's from a fixed point in time. And they will remind themselves, this is how I felt during this moment. But they don't always remind themselves what happened during the moment. Right? It's this is how I felt when this happened, but they don't always get the this happened part. So stories end up, I remember how I felt. And all of a sudden, it kind of dwindles into the back of our minds of what actually took place. And we're moving through time so fast, right? Our memories are only getting farther and farther away. But the more we tell the stories, the more we share those memories of what actually took place, those are the things that shape our lives, right? And the more we share that, the longer those memories will live on. And the reason why I call this episode the Memory Museum is because I love museums. I love art museums. I love art. I just shared all about how I always want to view life through beauty and through art. And I love how art can showcase an artist's perspective. So whether it's a beautiful musical piece on an instrument, or a beautiful voice with a story told through song, or it's a beautiful painting, right? I've always been mesmerized by works of Rembrandt or Pablo Picasso or Vincent van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh is probably my favorite artist, and I'm probably not alone in that. I think a lot of people like Vincent van Gogh, but Starry Night is my favorite painting of all time. And most people know what Starry Night is. I actually have a puzzle that I did, a 2,000-piece puzzle. You can probably barely see it back here behind me. It's kind of in the dark there. But Starry Night, what's beautiful about it is it was done not from view. It wasn't like Vincent van Gogh was sitting on a hill at night and just saw the stars and said, oh yeah, I should paint this. Which is how most of us go through life, right? We go through a moment and we're like, this is it. This is cool. No, Vincent van Gogh was in a psych ward essentially when he painted it. And it was from a vision of how he viewed his mind and the world. And it might have been a memory. And you see how the brushstrokes and how things move tell a story on the canvas. And I love that. And what I've learned is that memories are the artwork that hangs on the walls of our souls. Our lives and our experiences, they are on display every single time we open up and share those bits of ourselves that make us exactly who we are. So there may be moments in our lives where you can look at the canvas and see very aggressive brushstrokes that are almost taking chunks out of the canvas, but we're angry or frustrated, or maybe we're driven and we think that if we just paint harder, if we just try harder, it's going to make the picture look better. And then there's probably other points in our lives where you see these little flutter brushstrokes that are just barely touching the canvas because we don't really know what we're going to do. So we don't know if we want to add paint, add color, change something here, or we're just kind of floating through life. And so the brushstrokes are very light. But all of these memories build pieces of art of who we are. And when we share that with each other, it's art in motion in a way that you can't just bring somebody into a memory and say, oh yeah, now Joe is a part of this memory. No, but you can tell the story and relive the story and become the story by the way your life is. And I know that you've been around people who have told a story about something about them, and you felt like you were a part of it because you know that person. So they tell a story about how they went on a wild adventure and they did all these really wild things and they lived out of the car for a little while. And you're like, yes, that is so you. And it makes me wonder what the stories that people feel that way about me. Am I matching not just the life that I've lived and the memories that I hold dear, but is it really something that I'm holding dear to me because it's made me who I am, and I want people to be able to see why I am the way that I am? By sharing the parts of my life that maybe they are a little bit darker, but that darkness actually brings shadow and contrast to the canvas where you can see the picture in a brand new light, where it's not just the light is head on straight towards you, but there's a little bit of shadow here and a little bit of shadow there. And you gain a new perspective and a new joy from it. See, life is so beautiful and vibrant. And I love that song, Life in Color by One Republic. I love the idea of it. And I just love the mentality of being able to see color. And imagine you're colorblind and how it changes your entire perspective of life. And so many people want to view things black and white, right? It's either this or this. It can't be anything else. But life is not black and white. It is so full of color. And even if you are colorblind, or even if you are blind, you can hear the world around you and you can hear that joy. And it's something that I don't want us to take for granted, because life doesn't just happen. You create the life you want. The life that you think you want isn't just going to happen. And it may not be the life that you end up with. But if you want joy in your life, you have to create the memories and the momentum and grab the paint off of the easel and off of the palette and say, I'm going to paint a beautiful picture with whatever color I have. And a lot of people will look at their palette and they'll say, I don't have anything to work with. And I'm here to tell you, your memories and the things that you've gone through in life have given you all the colors you need to paint something beautiful. You have all the colors you need to create a masterpiece with your life. It's up to you to put the brush to the canvas and work on it, to practice it, to get the brush strokes down so that it does make sense, so that who you are is a showcase where somebody can look at you and say, I don't even need to talk to them. They just light up the room. And I know so many times in my life I've looked at that different thought process of, am I living up to the vibrant life that I want to be known for? And the honest to goodness truth is, a lot of times I haven't. And it's really challenged me, and I want to challenge you. Is your life a rigmarole of social media posts where you're not happy, but you share that you're happy and you do some interesting things, but you're not changed by those things? And year by year goes by and you just wonder, when is something new going to happen when you're the one in charge? You're the painter who can paint something new and paint something fresh and beautiful. What memories do you need to draw from so that you can showcase, almost like an art museum, and showcase to people, I am not the same person I was, but this is why I am who I am today. Because life wasn't meant to be viewed via pixels on a screen. Although I am thankful for social media, and I'm very thankful for how it can be utilized and it can connect people. But I can promise you, No amount of likes will ever come close to a hug from someone that makes you feel like they don't want you to let go. There's nothing that can compare on a screen from somebody who comes up behind you and gives you that hug that says, you are my person. You are my people. You are my tribe. And it's something that I really have struggled with over the last few years, especially with COVID and the isolation, is that I lost a little bit of that vibrant life. I lost a little bit of that view of, am I living a life in color? I really do want you to walk away from this with a challenge of, how are you viewing life? And if you are an art museum, and if the memories that you hold are a museum for yourself, are you willing to open that museum up to share for other people to see why you are who you are? Maybe there are things where you're going to go back through your museum and realize, wow, I actually am really talented in this area, or I've done some really cool things and I should be really proud of this. And then you invite friends in like, hey, actually, check out what I did. Like, I didn't even realize I did this. There are areas that you probably have completely forgot that you got blue ribbons and in art contests, or you were really good at dancing, or you were really good at sports, and you've just lost sight of that beautiful color in your life. So I am here to bring color into your life. If you're going through a stage in life where you feel like life is just black and white and gray and there's no color, I'm here to bring color back into your life and say, look, go through some of your memories, go through your memory museum, all the things that you have done. Take the colors from those memories and paint something beautiful in your present so that your future is vibrant and full of life. That is going to do it for this conversation. I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening. If you want to find me on my socials, you can follow me on TikTok or X, which is formerly known as Twitter, at Kyle Vaught. If you want to find me on my Instagram or Threads, it's Kyle_Vaught. By the way, that's KYLE, V as in Victor, ATT. Is my last name there as well. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button and drop a comment. I always love reading the comments. And then share this with a friend or two. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, thank you. Make sure that you hit that follow, rate it 5 stars, and share with a friend who needs a little color in their life. For everybody else, I love you guys so much. I hope that you'll have a wonderful rest of your week. Remember to give grace, show love, and as always, stay stellar. Peace.